James Cook stuff a saga? And I ask politely if today it is. Is it not? Is it now a saga? Is it yet a saga? Went up, I've had conversations with James. The situation has changed. We will see.
Then there he is. I'm going to want Sal to weigh in on this. For me, if I wasn't willing to go saga yesterday, a positive development does not push it to saga status. If
he sits out tomorrow,
if he leaves or just doesn't work out again, like if he sits out, he starts holding in again, then I think we're at saga status.
All right, Sal, your thoughts?
I had not heard this. This is the first time I'm hearing this. My initial reaction is I would not call it a saga. It was a 1 week bit of drama is what it was so far. Mm-hmm. Now it has a potential to turn into a saga. A saga has to be more long-term. The official definition of saga, as I look it up now, is a long story of heroic achievement. Even taking out heroic achievement, is it a long enough story? I don't know.
Damn it. Fails at every turn. It's not long. Our talking about it has been long, but the thing isn't long.
Yep.
And I don't think heroic achievement is what we've got here. We've got a guy who's got a contract and he doesn't want to play. Well, now he does.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I feel
definitely out.
I feel validated.
So you had to go and look it up. I didn't know you could do that these days. But you could find out actual definitions of words.
But I do think, Sal, if it takes another turn where he sits out again, then even though it might not fit the definition you just read, because it's nothing heroic
not
about him
close.
Sitting out again.
Right.
I feel like I'll be comfortable using saga, albeit perhaps inappropriately.
Yeah, I think we need more than what we've had so far for it to be a saga.
Right,
and you're right. Maybe that includes something tomorrow or this week into the season. Like, to me, saga's a little bit too premature and a little bit too extensive at this point.
So what do you make of, like, what changed here? Like McDermott, like Mike referenced, used the words he used. I think he usually is careful about that. So I doubt any of that was, him just off the cuff. What do you think changed? Is this a positive sign that maybe there's a contract incoming, or like what? How do you read it? It's hard to read.
It's possible, right? Sure, it's possible. I mean, would any of us be stunned after today if something were to happen over the next, 24, 48 hours up until, playing in Chicago Sunday before he steps on the field, if that's the case? No. The read I got was more of just, hey, it's go time. We need him to practice. We've had good conversations, and that's where things have changed. From what I gathered from Sean, I don't think my interpretation was he was not speaking for the organization as far as a contractual status that anything has changed. He was speaking from we've talked and we're now in a spot where we know he's practicing. That's changed, where we didn't know before. Today we know. Like, he's going out there, and he said the information we are getting is he is on track to practice today, I think is what he said, something like that. So to me, it felt like his change was, I'm getting more definitive answers here that he's going to practice today, not I don't know if he's going to or he's not. That's where that changed. Could it be possible that they have some sort of framework for a contract? Sure. I didn't get that sense today, but I wouldn't be stunned if somehow we learned that was the case this week.
So here's my take. The premise I'm working with is that they're close enough because he's around, because everybody talks about how much they love each other, because some of the reporting has said as much. They're close enough for you to think that a deal is, probably coming, or at least maybe coming. That they're not worlds apart. If they're worlds apart, why would he even be here, right? If he was steadfast, he wouldn't necessarily even be here. So I feel like, and have felt, that they're close. And because of that, I think the Bills would be negligent to not get something done with him by week 1 here in the next 3 weeks. Let's go. If I'm working from the starting point that I doubt $15 million is where we're going to end up. Because if the Bills said no to that, I wouldn't blame them. So I think there's probably a reasonable middle, maybe that's kind of wide too, where they should be able to get this done. And Sal, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here, maybe you disagree, but I don't like the idea of going into the season with Cook on his original deal, because I feel like maybe he'd be disgruntled, and we're talking about it all the time during the season. And I think that should be pretty easily avoided.
A lot there. Let me start with, I'm not so sure, Mike, that you're a little bit more confident. You're much more confident than me that if he's practicing, that means they're close. I just think that it feels to me like Sean McDermott and the Bills have made it known, like, you're important and you need to be out practice and you're under contract. And with the fact that James Cook showed up for minicamp and he practiced, and he showed up for training camp and he practiced, I think James is trying to do the right thing by his team. I've always gotten the impression that James is a bit conflicted, to be quite honest, what to do here. Like, to me, it's, I want to be there for my team. I really do. I think that's the right thing to do. He's trying to do everything right as a good teammate and a person under contract. At the same time, he's getting advice on how to do this out of the playbook from the agent, right? Which is, this is how you get more money, and you need to put pressure on them and leverage. I've always been under the impression it's more that he's conflicted, and we're to the point now where, dude, it's go time. Listen to the way Sean McDermott has talked since Saturday after the game about guys not practicing, about injured guys, even today. Now, James isn't injured, but he's in that boat. Like, look, we need to start practicing. We need to start playing. We have a season around the corner. Are you going to be here or you're not going to be here? Like, whether you're under contract and healthy or you're injured, I think you're in the same boat. So I'm not so sure, Mike, from what you are, that they're that close. That being said, I think there are indications they could be close. I don't think that has to be the reason why he's practicing, is what I'm saying, right? They could still be in this spot where, look, we're getting closer. We're trying to figure out. I don't think that's the trigger point for James. To me, the trigger point for James is he's trying to be a Buffalo Bill, and he's trying to do things right here by his team. That said, negligent, that's a pretty strong word for me. I mean, is it negligent if the Bills don't sign a guy going to last year of his contract? Lots of guys go into the last year of their contract. Would it be negligent on James Cook's part to also have that, if you don't get it done? Sure, I think you could look at it both ways. I don't know where the numbers are, though. Like, if we knew right now that the Bills were really lowballing him, then sure, I could understand that. If we also knew that James Cook is asking to be amongst the top 3 paid running backs in the league, then I think it's negligent on his part not to do everything, to be there if he goes into the season without a contract. So I don't know how to wash all that.
Yeah, that traces me back to last week's reporting that indicated that they were close, and I thought that was dubious. My at least, and I should say dubious. I believe someone told those reporters that they're close. I think that's the agent's side of things. It's the player's side, because that makes people react like Mike is reacting, right? Using strong words that the Bills aren't doing the right thing here. And, like, I don't know. That could be right, but I don't know. I think where I'm most like you, Sal, is that I think Cook is conflicted. And that in a negotiation, unfortunately, is a weakness, because the business, the team, right, is going to exploit that if they can. And so if Cook feels guilty about not being there for Josh Allen, the MVP, or any of these other teammates of his, that is working against him, and that could be challenging. And it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. That would explain, to some degree, is erratic too strong? The playbook he's working from is not the paint by numbers, hold out, get me a new contract, hold in, get me a new contract playbook that most of us are familiar with, right? I mean, he showed up on time for everything, and then a week and a half into camp started holding out or not practicing. Now he's back, still no new deal. That tells me perhaps that is a guy that is conflicted on what he's trying to get done here.
Yeah, I do agree, though, Mike, that you don't want James Cook going into the season as a disgruntled running back, a disgruntled employee. But I put that on both sides. Like, if you don't want to be disgruntled, you can make this work. And if the Bills don't want to make him disgruntled, then they can make it work. What does that look like, though? Because there's 2 ways you can play that, which is he's disgruntled, so what does that look like during, the fourth quarter of a game in which, they need him to be a really important player for him, and, he's thinking about his contract and getting hurt. Of course, you don't want to go down that road, right? But at the same time, it could also be motivation, right? Guys go into the last years of their contract all the time. Guys know that, like if he really wants to get paid, he can also say, okay, that's it, I'm done. How many times have we seen the other side where guys have said, I'm not negotiating once I get, to a certain point.
I'm betting on myself.
A lot of times it's
right.
That's right. A lot of times it's other sports, right? Not football, where there's maybe more risk of injury, but it's like, no, I'm going to go out there and I don't want to negotiate during the season. And once I go out there, I'm going to show everybody what I'm worth. And guess what? If it's not going to be here, it's going to be somewhere else, and someone's going to pay me. He could also take that approach. And, he is under contract going into the last year of his deal. So if he wants to do it that way, then all the power to him as well.
We have said it all, I think, about this player. Sal Capaccio on the Wester Hotline. Dion Dawkins left early today. What happened?
Yeah, we were actually in the field house talking with Craig Bohl, who is Josh Allen's a former coach at Wyoming. Like he was there, and we knew he was there, and they said, hey, we're going to make him available to the media. So we all kind of gathered in the field house during the period where we couldn't shoot practice anymore and do video. So, some of the media went in there, and we're gathered around him, and I look over, and I see Dion Dawkins with multiple athletic trainers walking. So I don't know what happened out on the field, but I also asked other media who were out there that they did not see anything specifically happen to Dion out on the field. But he was with multiple trainers walking and talking. He was walking, in his own power. He had his helmet with him. He was carrying it, and you didn't really notice anything, but they were discussing something. And then he walked into the locker room area. We did not see him anymore. After practice, Elena Getzenberg of ESPN.com tweeted out that her and Matt Bove of Channel 7 and Always Game Day and Buffalo Podcast, of course, asked Dion Dawkins if he was doing okay, and he, quote, smirked and then danced away, end quote. So I'm hoping and guessing that could be a good sign.
Yeah, I wonder, when you see a guy walking without there's not a noticeable body part that seems to be hurting,
Right.
You might immediately think maybe head injury, but it is the time of the year here where just the heat could be a factor too. Mm-hmm. So I don't hope I'm not being reckless and speculating about that, but it wouldn't surprise me if any player felt just felt the heat and needed to take a minute,
Yeah, no doubt, Bulldog. Could be a number of things, right? I mean, it could be something very, very minor. It could be, heat related, and obviously it wouldn't be necessarily minor, but you get it. Like, it doesn't have to be something that's going to keep him out any length of time. But when we go out there tomorrow, we'll see if Dion Dawkins is out there tomorrow. There is another practice tomorrow morning as well.
If you have more details about today, please offer them. I wanted to get into a bigger subject, like a different kind of subject, with some trivia attached, if not.
Okay, I do real quick. Let me just kind of go through everything here. They did get both Cole Bishop and Taylor Rapp back on a limited basis today. Both were in uniform. They did not, from what I see, take part in any team drills. They did some individual stuff, which was good. Sean McDermott was also, again, very kind of adamant about getting guys back, and specifically talking about Taylor Rapp missing time here and how important it is to get those two safeties on the same page. Caden Prather did some stuff as well today individually. And then still nothing on a lot of the guys that have been out. Cedric Van Granger, Max Harrison, Khalil Shakir was out of the walking boot. That was good. But Curtis Samuel and Alec Anderson, I did see doing stuff with uniform on with a trainer today. So that was good. The only notable, performance, I would say, today from a lot of that stuff was a lot of what took up the time today. Just kind of noting all that, the injuries, James Cook. I also noticed today, and just kind of thought about, I really like the days that Dalton Kincaid is stacking together going back to St. John Fisher. That's what I would say about today.
All right.
That's good.
One other thing I want to ask you about that McDermott mentioned, and you just mentioned the player, Cole Bishop, who was back doing some individual work today. If not team, did you say teamwork too, or was it just individual?
No, I only saw individual for him.
But McDermott sounded pretty, just pretty stern about that. Feel like bracing for DeMar Hamlin to start the opener is what it sounded like. And I don't know, it's early enough here that if he gets back on the field, but McDermott sounds, concerned, I guess is the word I'd use for him, about Bishop missing as much time as he's missed.
I don't disagree. I think it's go time. It sounds like he's saying we got to get guys back. Listen, this is the second week of the preseason. You're not playing these guys. If Cole Bishop is going to be a starter this year, he's not playing that third preseason game most likely, and you need him to play this week. You need him to get out there against Chicago. You need to get him out there Sunday night. And if that's not the case, he better be darn close, because you got to start getting him some reps here some way, shape, or form. This is about reps. This is about playing next to Taylor Rapp, and he's out as well. So I agree. And then with Bishop, it just compounds it because he missed last year and didn't have these valuable reps. So I agree with that. And then the other one on that was Tyler Bass. Bulldog, I did hear you earlier about the kicker. He is still here.
He is still here. Sorry, I
Caden Davis is still here. That's okay. But yeah, you're right. They only signed him for the one day, but he is still here right now. I asked Sean McDermott how does that affect the operation with Tyler Bass and all that? And he said, of course it does, right? But at least you're getting the long snapper and the punter and the holder on the same page with another kicker right now until Tyler Bass is ready. But again, he kind of sounded the same about Tyler Bass as these other guys, which is you got to get back here at some point.